Do you guys ever have like a Fig Newton? Today we're gonna be looking at Buppido's crank box. So this is an item I made up during the Out of the Abyss campaign that I DM'd for some young lads, and yeah, this is something that Buppido gives the party at some point. So if you wanna just introduce it there, or just give it a different name, maybe give it some fun wizard that you have along in your campaign. Maybe he gives it to the party. Some guy who makes funny magic items. It's a funny item. Overpowered shit. If you thought the last one was overpowered, you're in for it now. Let's see. What does he do? It's Buppido's crank box. It's a crank box. This box is an intricate mechanical device, motifs, Grim Reaper design. You can whatever you want. It's like it has cogs and stuff. You turn a key. The main thing is that it turns a key. That's the most important part of it. Everything else is like whatever. Weighs a pound. 5x5x5. It's cube. Bonus action, movement action, or reaction to turn the key, and then you maintain it held so that it doesn't, like, if you let go of the key, it's going to start to unwind. See, it says that on the next one. And then each effect that we're about to see is going to only be able to occur once. But this implication, so you may either use a bonus movement or reaction. That means you could use your action as a bonus action. So you could use your action as well to also crank it if you wanted to spend your entire turn just fucking going nuts on the box. All right, let's go nuts on some box on your turn. You know, let's see what happens on each crank pull of this funny box. So on one crank, it goes a little soft whisper, a little Buppido, just emits from the box, like barely audible, but definitely there. I don't know how you use that. Maybe you want to distract a guy. Maybe you turn the thing, throw it, it like goes off as it's in midair. Distraction. You kind of lost an incredibly powerful magic item doing that, but you know, that's definitely a use of it. Two cranks of the box, it heats up significantly, causing anyone who's touching it, or you know, currently touching it, for the next 6 seconds takes a d12 fire damage if you touch it. That's pretty bad. You probably don't want to do that. You might accidentally wang yourself. If you're like cranking and you only get to 2 and then get like knocked unconscious, you're gonna like auto give yourself a death save because you're gonna let go of the key and burn yourself. So that's pretty bad. You probably don't want to leave it on 2, but you can give someone the spicy handshake though, at risk to yourself. Maybe you have some fireproof gloves or some funny other bullshit that you can like pair with it. 3 cranks, launches a dart of force of energy at the target, choice dealing 1d6 plus 1 force damage. That's just nice extra damage sometimes. Maybe you just want to like crank out a little bit of extra damage. Maybe you need a little bit more. Spend that reaction, and you can use your reaction at instant speed, pardon using a magic term, but you can use it like whenever you want. So you can reaction turn the key whenever, because that's how reactions work. Like on other people's turns, I mean, not just like at any point. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, you get what I'm saying. You guys are clever. 4 cranks. The box grows to huge size and remains like so for 18 seconds. That's 3 whole rounds, because around 6 seconds, everyone does that. Things that would be in the area that the box would then occupy take 3d10 bludgeoning damage and are pushed out of the box's space. So it's just expands, it goes boop, and then it retracts after a few seconds. I guess the key's still there, so you could theoretically keep cranking it, but I imagine it would be more difficult. Maybe you can, as the DM, make them do some kind of like check for that. If it's like it's going to be a really big key, maybe it'll be harder, give more resistance. Who knows? It'll be really big, so that's wacky. A huge size means it would be occupy like a 15-foot by 15-foot by 15-foot space, because you know, board and such, you know. Board size? Yeah, because large is a 2x2, and then that would be a 3x3 because it's huge. Right? Yeah, I think so. 5 cranks. The box grows. This one's probably the stupidest. 5 cranks. The box glows yellow and becomes extremely adhesive for 10 minutes. Anything in contact with the box must make a DC 18 charisma save or be compelled to only tell truths for the duration that they are in contact with the box. So if you crank it and then let go, you're going to be sticky because you're holding the box, so it's stuck to you, so you won't be able to tell truths. But you can like wang someone with it, or make someone at gunpoint turn the thing or whatever. But then again, you are giving them an extremely powerful magic item at that point, so that might not be a good idea. I like the idea of just like carrying it, sticking it on the guy that you're trying to interrogate, and yeah, just go from there. 6 cranks. The cranker casts a power word stun on a target with all the same restrictions as the spell. So 150 hit points or less. The creature is stunned until your next turn, I believe. Or they have to make a save or something? I don't know. You can... Power Word Stun's a really good spell. It's like an 8th level spell, so it's pretty damn strong. That's probably the most overpowered one. This has seen use in a campaign. There is an example of someone using it to stun a boy. I think there was an Iron Golem at one point that got stunned from this. So that was pretty good. At 7 cranks, the cranker casts Tensor's Floating Disc that lasts 5 minutes. However, can target any target within 35 feet of the caster. So Tensor's Disc usually has the restriction of only casting on yourself. So you can just cast Tensor's Disc on other people, so that's kind of nice. It's that little thing where like, Tensor's Disc is a little floating disc that kind of connects at your hip through an invisible cord and acts as if it has a cord attached to you. So like if you walk around, you'll pull it along with you, and it's like a little cart. You can put your rocks and your funny gemstones and your fruit snacks on, and you can carry them with you easier. 8 cranks, you gain a fly speed of 5 feet for 1 minute. So that's good for like crossing a little gorge or something. Very minor like puzzle things. That could work. At 9 cranks, it emits bright light equivalent of a torch until it comes in contact with water, as if it was a torch. So that's just nice if you don't have a light spell. 10 cranks, the cracker gains true sight for 6 seconds. That's useful if you're like fighting invisible boys, or like there's a wizard, or maybe you gotta figure out a puzzle. Maybe you need some true sight for it. 11 cranks, the cranker's arms and legs switch places for 1 minute. This does not harm the cranker, but might be discomforting, and mobility could prove more difficult. I would make everything count as difficult terrain if they did that, and that'd call it a day. Because you can't walk with your arms as easy as you do with your legs, but I might increase their fist damage, because you're punching with the strength of kicks, so that's a lot better, because kicks are stronger than punch. Not if you're a monk. If you're a monk, you know how to do them all good anyway. So if the monk does this, or if a monk does this, then I might not give any disadvantages at all, and just let him do whatever he wants. Yeah, now your legs are your hands. Why not? 12 cranks. A cloud of silver dust erupts from the cube, causing a 20-foot radius sphere of foggy, dusty area for 1 minute. So it's like the fog spell. It causes obscurement, line of sight blocking, disadvantage for range attacks, the whole works and stuff. You get what I'm saying. 13 cranks. The cranker ages 1 year. I don't know why that would be helpful. Maybe you're underage, you're trying to get into the bar in Waterdeep, and you're like, quick crank of this will get me past the bouncer. Won't even have to lie about it. 14 cranks. The cranker chooses a target within 30 feet. If they fail a DC 15 wisdom save, they age 1 day. So that's pretty inconsequential and annoying. You could just like do that every morning just to double the age rate of your elf, just to like of the elf in the party, just to bring them in line with everyone else. They seem behind. They've had it too good for too long. Knock them down a peg with that. They won't even know what's happening. 15 cranks. All creatures within 100 feet of the cranker, including the cranker, make a DC 13 perception check. On a fail, the creature is blinded. At the end of each of their turns, they may repeat the save to cure the blindness. So that's just a nice little annoying thing. So if you have some other way of seeing besides your eyes, then you could use this as kind of like an escape method to like blind the things you're trying to get away from, and then just book it with your, I don't know, tremor sense. Yeah, so those are those ones. There's more. Don't you whiz-waz. We go to 100 with this, but 30 to 99 are a lot of the same thing. So 16 cranks. A very audible Buppido can be heard out to 1 mile radius from the cranker, which is pretty silly. Do this in the middle of like Waterdeep or like a big populated city. Just cause a commotion, cause a ruckus, be the talk of the town, be like, hey, have you heard Buppido? And that's like a conversation starter. Like, oh, did you hear that? And then you can start like just having a normal conversation with whoever you want. It's a good icebreaker, honestly. 17 cranks, the cranker's skin turns dark gray for 1d20 days, so that's kind of funny. 18 cranks, the cranker's skin turns dark gray for 1d20 years. So if you want to like, if you're like a gnome or a dwarf, right? You want to sneak into like Underdark cities of like Snurfeblin or Duragar, this is perfect, like exactly the ticket. You'll be passing for those guys, basically. So that's handy for that. If you're what's it called, an elf, you can sneak into old Menzo Baranzan, the old city of the Dark Elves, with that one. So that's something. Maybe it's a long-term thing. You're really gonna get those 1d20 year ones. Who knows? Maybe that'll be useful. There's not really an easy way to turn it back. I guess you could, as a DM, be like, yeah, Lesser Restoration. It's not that crazy of a magic. Or even greater if you want to be like harsh about it, So 19 cranks. The cranker's target within 30 feet gains 1d20 strength score for 6 seconds. I mean, it's good if you're trying to like open up door or like bend some bars or whatever, but I don't think you're going to be doing this one in combat, because that's like 19 cranks. That's like 5 turns worth of just like going nuts on the box just for one turn of like boosted strength, but that might be enough. Who knows? Maybe that's all you need. 20 cranks. The cranker falls into a deep sleep that can only be awoken through magical means, and it lasts a minute, so you just put yourself to sleep. It's good if you just like, you're role-playing an insomniac. This is the only way you can get to sleep, so that'd be kind of funny. 21 cranks. The cranker sees something in the peripheral vision that continues to stay in the peripheral vision for 1d100 minutes. So you go ahead and make up either the silliest or most horrifying things you want as a DM to put in their peripheral vision. Why do they do this one? Maybe they do this one as like, hey, crank this 21 times to their friend, to their buddy, and then it's just like a fun little prank, a little horrifying, beyond their comprehension prank on your fellow party member. That could be cool. 22 pranks. The cranker's life flashes before their eyes. This could be helpful or not. Maybe you're trying to remember something. Maybe you're like, you need to remember the name of a PC, or maybe maybe there was like a code on a wall that you remember seeing a few days ago, but you can't quite remember. You failed the history check. You just do this, flash your entire life before your eyes, and hopefully you get it. Maybe you try again because you missed it on the go around. It's like flipping through all the channels, but like only going up, not going backwards. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, like in that scene in Toy Story, the dinosaur and the pig. 23 cranks. The cranker gains proficiency and expertise in the use of scythes for 1 minute. The reason for this one is because Buppido uses a scythe in the... Well, he uses like a trippy thing, which is like a scythe in the Out of the Abyss campaign. So I was like, yeah, Buppido's, it's his crank box, give a scythe. You can just switch this to whatever you want if it's like more relevant to the guy who's giving it to the characters in your one, in your little in your young D&D world. Expertise just means they had double their proficiency, so that's what that means in a weapon skill. So like if they're level 5 or whatever, they have 3 proficiency, they add 4 or 5 depending on how you feel about rounding. 24 cranks. The cranker polymorphs into a vermin related to the region the cranker currently finds themselves in for 10 minutes. So that's just handy for sneaking into stuff, you know? Turn into like a little spider or a rat or a gerbil or squirrel. Just like sneak into the little enemy castle camp, do some recon, come back in 10 minutes. Easy. That's just handy to be able to do. 25 cranks. The cranker's current HP is set to 0 as they suddenly collapse. Now this one, I feel like you could meme this in a way. So you turn the key 25 times or whatever, and you hold it there. And then you manage to give that to who you want to like prank with this, and then you're like, just hold the key and then tell them to like throw the box or do something with the box where they let go of the key. So as like they let go of the key, the effect would go on them. So then they just like collapse. So that'd be kind of silly. Maybe like it'll be a bit of a complex thing. Maybe some persuasion checks, maybe some deception checks along the way. But yeah, that could be cool. 26. Cranks. The cranker can understand, read, write, and speak one of the languages that is known by the closest entity that knows a language. Now, this doesn't specify that you get to pick, so if the entity that you're trying to talk with knows lots of languages, you just get a random one, you know? Like this story about those 2 people meeting at a convention, one spoke French, one spoke German, but they both spoke Klingon, and that's how they communicated. That's kind of funny. So 27 cranks. The cranker gains the ability to cast the spell Eye Bite at will for 12 seconds. Now, the reason I put this here, right, is because I've never seen anyone fucking cast Eye Bite, and I just want someone to cast Eye Bite at least once. So this lets you cast it twice. And like, it's a really high level spell, but it's just there's just so many better options constantly. So like, I just want someone to cast Eye Bite. I just want to see what it does, you know? It's like you blink at them and that's like biting them with your eyes. That's why it's called that. 28 cranks. The cranker and all creatures within 100 feet of the cranker become aware and knowledgeable of the whereabouts of each other. That would be hilarious in like a big city, or probably in like a big skirmish in a dungeon, potentially. That could be kind of funny. Give your position away, but learn the position of everyone else. If you're trying to find a specific person in a crowd, that would be helpful. And there you go. 29 cranks. The cranker turns invisible as the invisibility spell for 5 minutes. So it doesn't last as long as the invisibility spell, but 5 minutes is fucking enough. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to rob a bank? That's enough. 30 to 99 cranks. Anyone with the name Buppido becomes aware of your location regardless of planes or spheres. So that's just like a emergency, like let them know where you are at. So like if he's like a beneficent guy that they get this from, or if he's like a bad guy that they stole this from, then that could be good or bad, depending. Like maybe it's like a call for help, like a distress signal. 100 cranks. On a failed DC 9 charisma saving throw, or a willing target within 30 feet, the target's name becomes Buppido for 1d100 minutes. On a roll of 100 or 1, the effect is permanent. So this would let your name become Buppido. Or it could just make the name become whatever you want to set the name to. The name's honestly fluid, as long as it like stays consistent throughout all the ones that mention the name. But once that's done, you can give the box to someone else, even, and then whenever they do the 30 to 99, you'll be aware of where they are, which is pretty handy if you want to like split the party. Also, everyone else whose name is that will also be aware where you are, so watch out for that. So yeah, that's all the things that this crank box does. That's all 1 to 100. I thought it was a funny little item. I hope you get to use it in your own D&D things. Let me know if you want to like, if you're going to switch out any ones. Which one's your favorite? Which one was your favorite? How do you have any clever uses for some of these? Any clever memes? What does Eye Bite do? I still don't know, and I refuse to look it up. So yeah, probably level 5 or something. It's never gonna be balanced. It's a silly box. It does like all kinds of shit. Of course it's overpowered. Did you see? You can use like whatever. It can cast Power Word Stun. That's really strong. Alright, so yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you. Thanks for watching. It was a good one. Tell me what you guys think. Bye bye. Like and subscribe.